need to finish. Or in some cultures, you need to have it done to you. And that's a finish, a completion of sorts. Either way, there is karmic overlay, which when you come into the planet, for some, they feel it. There's something you're supposed to do. There's some completion you're supposed to have. And it often will lay upon you, completely apart from any Akashic memories, totally. That's the karma. Dear ones, when I arrived in 1989, the first thing I told my partner was that he needed to drop his karma. And that there was an energy coming that would not support it. That it needed to be eliminated for him to move on. He didn't understand what that was because he never dealt with karma. It made it easier to dismiss it for him. For he didn't know what it was. A lot more difficult for some humanity to dismiss karma when they're taught that that's what their life is about. The first transcribed publication, which you call Book 1, Drop Your Karma. That was what we said. It was an engine of energy for an old time. It gets in the way of an old soul in a new time. So perhaps there are those listening now or later or in this room who have looked at this all very carefully and said, well, this is my karma and this is what I'm supposed to do. I will tell you, karma plays no part in your life. None. You are to drop it all because it's an old system of completion. You don't need it. There are other things right now that you need far more than that. It's an awakening to higher purpose. Karma is not higher purpose. In the past, it served its purpose, indeed, and it was needed and necessary and accurate. Not now. The next one we'll call contract. All of these placed into the soul in a beautiful way before he ever came into this planet. Now, contract not to be confused with something I'm going to tell you in a moment regarding the wind of birth. But contract, as described now, is what some of you feel you're about. I've come into this planet, you say, in order to build a healing center, in order to write a book, in order to do this or that. I have come with my talents in order to add something to this and make this happen. I can feel it. And all of that is accurate. But here's what I want to tell you about that which you believe is contract. It's a bad word. For contract in your culture is a binding agreement. It's something you must do because you signed on for it. I would like to ask you this. How does that fit in with free choice? And the answer is it doesn't. Contract is something that occurs when you get here. It's an invisible ink. You can rewrite it at any time you wish based upon new things you discover or even an elevated consciousness that you might then enjoy. Contracts are that which are beginning baselines. That's all they are. They aren't something that you have for life no matter what. There are so many light workers who have opportunities to move on to something higher and stop it and say, yes, but that wasn't my contract. My contract was this, and they go on to try to fulfill it and never do. The contract is simply a beginning marker. It helps you to point to a direction that is going to bring you in contact with that which is good and with others who have similar ideas of contract. Past that, again, rewrite it at any time you wish. Doesn't it make sense that when you come across conditions and situations that are grander and higher than that which you had before in a past life, that you would then go up those stairs and move into a situation that has no contract because you've never been there? And that's when you say, God bless the contract that got me to these stairs. You bless it and send it away and climb them into a higher consciousness and a new part of life with new people and new friends, new locations, all of these things that have nothing to do with the energy of your birth. I hope you would understand that. That is the difference between what you thought was a contract and now what is the truth of a contract. Old soul, you have free choice. You have free choice to move to higher consciousnesses. You have free choice to change your ideas of what this planet needs, where you fit in, and not be a slave to something that you felt in an old energy that you felt was you. Because that which is you can be redefined completely by you at any time you want. Anytime. We gave a dramatic demonstration of this not too long ago. We told you you're defined from birth. As a review, we told you that if you take a sticky note and start writing all the things that define you and put it on your body, you're going to have that which is defined from your gender. You're going to be defined by your culture, who you are, what you are, even that which you're supposed to believe because of birth. That which your parents taught you, that which your instructors taught you, sticky, 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 sticky. That's who you are. And you walk around with all the sticky notes and everybody reads them. That's who you are. What part did you play in that? The answer is none. We said maybe it's time to do what the dogs do when they take a bath and shake so much that all the sticky notes fall off. And then you take one and define it for the first time. Who am I? And you write it carefully. Child of God. Put it on. And you go from there. And no place on there is a sticky note with your contract. Because it's fallen off with all of the others. Because you're now free choice to see things at a higher level than ever before. These are some of the things which will go into you, the preparation of coming to this planet every single time. You think it's automatic, that there's some kind of system that churns you out, even upstairs, but in that place beyond the veil, you think of it the way it is here. And it isn't. Careful, loving, beautiful. And in a time the time frame is not even a frame. It's outside of time. So you might say that there's a space given for this, which is beyond that which is your clock. Careful it is. Beautiful it is. And then you would say, because you're a human being, what choice do I have in any of it? And the answer is so profound. There's nobody sitting designing this. You're doing it. You're picking up the pieces and putting them right back where they belong. You are assembling you. Carefully putting together that which is the soul, the DNA memory, the Akashic record, overlays, all that is there carefully. You're doing it. You're doing it because you have the mind of God. You're a piece of the whole when you're not here. And you're about ready to come back. This is where it gets complicated and magnificent. We have told you there is something called the wind of birth. And we can't define it. 2 other times we've tried. There are no words. Imagine you stand on the other side of the veil and there is seemingly a wind blowing. And through that gap going to the planet, the wind blows toward you, goes up. Because that's where you're going. You're sensing all of the energy that is there. Now the complexity begins. We've told you that you incarnate on purpose with attributes and in groups and with people. that here now you might say, that would never have happened. I would never have chosen this family. Oh, yes, you did. This is complicated. For the better good of consciousness, for yourself, for those, you incarnate, sometimes as the teacher, sometimes as the one to be taught. Sometimes you incarnate profoundly as lessons for others. I want you to think for a moment of what that might be. You see, you're not alone. Do the statistics. How many are born every day on the planet? Take that number and imagine for a moment that day you're all together at the wind of birth. Let's say that there's a stadium full of you, but you all know one another. And the magnificence of this meeting is you all know where you're going and what you're going to do. If this were an earthly meeting, there would be tears. Tears of appreciation and joy for what you're about to do. And one by one, you will watch the souls go into that place, that wind of birth, and into a corporeal body on the other side. And as you meet them and you see them as they go in, one by one, two by two sometimes, you know their stories. You know all of it. Because on the other side of the veil, all things are known. Other souls just like you, some of which you know, some of whom you know, are there, coming back. Some of them you recognize because they're going to be in your group. Eventually, when you get there and you meet one another, some are not. They're going to their own groups. But the profound ones are happening as well. There goes that one. Blessed is he who's decided to come to the earth and live for 3 months and come back. Are you getting this? That was the choice of the soul. To come in and die early because there was something to tell a parent. It was a bond of love or not, depending upon how the parents chose to see it. He was coming down to do something that would seem so sorrowful at the moment. And yet it would make such a difference in their lives forever. And that was what he was going to do. Another one was coming in to live until they were a teenager. Another one just like that until they were 24. And at that time, they knew that in the field, the potential and the family and all the things around them is that they would come back with their own choice through what you call the shame of suicide. They went in with that potential, dear ones, and it wasn't shameful. It was something designed to kick the parents in the pants and make them have decisions they would never have made otherwise, or maybe to put them in a place where they'd look around and search for God and find it. You think of that? That's a sacrifice. That's not shameful. That's beautiful. Think of somebody who would go through that and think, this is going to change the life of my parents. And for a little while it's going to be something shameful, but there'll come a time perhaps when they will celebrate my life and thank me for this, because now they are old souls who awaken. They're helping the planet, and they never would have before. And that's my purpose. Now that is another kind of contract, isn't it? That is a contract that could be or could be not manifested, depending upon what happens when you get to the planet at the wind of birth. That's one you often make up as you go in and choose your parents. Many right now are choosing the same parental DNA. They're coming back as another generation in the same family. And what this means is that some of you moms and dads are very quiet about what you suspect, that your parents are your grandchildren. And you see it in their eyes. And every once in a while when they're young, they'll look at you and say something. And you'll know that's true. Because they're saying things they're not supposed to know. This is how profound the difference is today coming into the planet as it was in the days of karma, when there was an old type of push and pull energy that pushed you into and pulled you out. The energy of completion. That's not what this is about anymore. You watch others go into that wind of birth, into the families that they have chosen, the cultures they've chosen, the groups they've chosen. You watch the few who know this is the life where they'll change gender. And they know what that's going to be like. And that's going to be a difficult life for a little while, only for a little while. They know what it means because they've done it before. You've all done it before. There's a lot of backslapping that goes on at the wind of birth. That's the best thing I can tell you of how this feels as a soul coming in, knowing that in a moment everything spectacular and knowing will go away. And in that, the wind of birth, you're taken down to the basics. There's nothing wrong with a corporeal body, but dear ones, low consciousness is so dark from where you've been. There are things happening on this planet right now, multiple things to change the energy of the wind of birth. And I'm going to close with this because I'm not quite finished, and I'll continue tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about how it feels to awaken from this. What are some of the attributes that push and pull the awakening of this? If you come in with full equipment, let's say you come in with a ton of things in your soul. They don't weigh a thing, but that's what it's like with libraries full of things. And then I tell you, you're on book 1, page 3. That's who you are, humanity. But suddenly, in this new energy, the library starts to show. And at that wind of birth, what those right now who are coming in today, right now, over and over, right now, at the wind of birth, who are listening to this and smiling, they know something. And I want to tell you something about what they know. Is that when they arrive on this planet and start to grow up, almost immediately they're going to remember things they never remembered before. Because evolution is starting to happen in consciousness. Some of them are going to walk early. Some of them are going to read without teaching. You're going to start remembering the things that you did before and move on quickly. But most, the wisdom, they'll know who they are. At some level, they know they're an old soul. At some level, they're starting to be interested right away in esoteric things instead of waiting until they're 40. You've met some of these. There are young people walking on this earth right now who are very interested in who they are. They're moving in the circles of what young people do, listening to their own music. They have their own habits and looks, but I'll tell you that they're very interested in esoteric things. They've made some interesting decisions, not to go to church, not to have children for a while. They're looking at things that you never looked at that way. That perhaps your children never looked at it that way. These are the new human beings, starting to act differently, socialize differently, come to meetings like this differently. That's who they are. It's happening now, right now. That's going to happen with you as well. Old souls will pick up where they left off. You will not have to learn all this again. And that means that all the mistakes you've made, you'll never make again. When you come back fresh, young, ready to go, and wise, it's a different life, dear ones. And that should make a difference to those of you who said, I'm never coming back. Yes, you are. Oh, yes, you are. But fresh and new and with the wisdom, Right now, I'll tell you how you're feeling, old soul. You're tired. You're tired of battling the old energy for all these years to get you to a place called 2012. And now you go into another kind of battle, and that's called change. You're tired. Live your years, but when you come back at that wind of birth, I want you to hear my words again, and you will. When I say you're going to have a smile on your face, and you're going to say, is it my turn? Is it my turn? Is it my turn? Is it my turn? You want to come back because you know this is going to be fun. What you know is spectacular. And you've never, ever been born with this kind of consciousness, remembrance, before, ever. You'll go right to that which is compassionate and makes sense. You will epitomize and define new human nature. That's who you are. That's the wind of birth. There's more. All the things that you might suspect that you always wondered about. At the wind of birth, that is where the decisions in the now are made about families and groups and genders, not some other time. You cannot say right now, I'm coming back as. And the only differences are when that is going to be something that's going to change the planet and you know it. There are a few who know what they're going to do when they get here, who know where they're going because it's part of an extension of now and what they're doing. You're in training for what's coming. Not all, but some. So it is complex, is it not? That which takes place in a reality that you cannot imagine, that you cannot extend your mind to believe. And all these metaphors that we've given you are so you can see it kind of in your mind's eye, kind of. But I don't want anybody to miss this. It's not an apparatus, a system. It's magnificent. It drips with the love of God. All of you know at that point in time that you will lose that which is magnificence in your memory, and you'll have to come to the earth and discover it. That's going to be part 3. I tell you these things, whether you believe them or not, because I want to point out how magnificent you are and what goes into you, every single one coming to the planet. And how you look at things, perhaps, even while you're here, and wonder how they happened, or why me, or why now. And you start to recognize and realize there's purpose for everything. The wisdom of the old soul will look around and understand and realize some of the things going on a bigger picture of this planet and world are to prepare it for you coming back. That some of the things that seem unusually dysfunctional that might be happening now are on purpose. That sometimes it takes dysfunction to find out what function should be, especially when the new functionality is going to be a new paradigm. You cannot break paradigms easily. They don't flow into each other. They never have. You know that. Especially behavior. And so whether it's corporate or politic, or whether it's parenting or teaching, there are new paradigms afoot for all of that. All of that. Some will break before they restart. Some won't have to. We've talked about this. We've talked about an integration of one paradigm into another, and so slow change is possible. It is, but not for all. That's what's going on. That should explain some of the things you see now that worry you. Or that you look at and say, I don't believe what's happening, it can't be good. Oh, yes, it can. If you look at it from the perspective of an old soul who's here many, many times and will be here many, many times, it's just right on schedule. Because the new paradigms that will result from the dysfunction today will be needed for the new earth. Old soul, this is why you're here. This is why you're listening. This is the new human. All of these things, again, I tell you, so that you'll be aware of the care that goes into you. I hope your self-worth has been bolstered just a little by the knowledge of that piece of God in you being part of the whole. You know what God looks at you and sees? God sees God. More than children of God, part of God. That's who you are. I'll be back. We continue. And so it is. Hi, everybody. I'm Lee Carroll. I am the original channel of Kryon.
So it is good day to you, huh? Oh, so good to see you, your light, your brightness, your divine presence, your beings, you're beaming with energy right now, huh? Do you know that? When you move around, the electricity is not actually working, is it? It is just you, your bright iridescent light that is coming so forward and clearly. You have stepped up to the plate and you have volunteered to be here right now. Huh? And when you volunteer to be here, you get to volunteer to be everywhere. Because your light goes out around the planet. Yes? Dearly beloveds, everything is changing as it did 2,000 years ago. The world shifted. And as it shifted, many came into power. Many were afraid. We are thankful that you are rid of your fear. Your mission is every bit as important as mine was. Is in this holy sacred place. They teach many paths lead to one. They know in this sacred center of your heart, many paths may lead to one. But you're the one that were chosen to be here now again. In these changing times, just as you were chosen for us to walk together. Yes, each of you. We see no strangers in this group. It is good to see you again. You have shorter hair. That mission of bringing love and compassion to this planet again, I implore you. I would like your help. before it was really just me and a few others. They say 12. There was actually a lot more. And now we are here again at a turning point. So this planet can heal. So this planet can heal. So the people of this planet can heal. And those who have that healing mission will extend beyond where they thought their wildest dreams would take them, just because they say yes. I said yes. I'm grateful. You each are saying yes as well. We love you deeply. We see you as I am in your hearts. So many have asked me, well, when are you coming back? Too late. Already here, right there, in your heart. Please help. In love. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Savaot. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Savaot. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Savaot. Namaste.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. The following message is offered as an addendum and also a duplicate, perhaps, of last night. And the reasoning for this is that I want this group to hear the same thing live that I said last night. It is seldom that we would repeat a message in this form. But when we do, you know it's important. The message is this. Shortly, there's going to be something called the Circle of 12. And I wanted to explain it as best I can. What might it be? What are the metaphors involved in the 12, even in the circle? Yes, there will be a circle. Yes, there will be 12. But there's more. It's the beginning of an energy where it's time. 31 years ago, when I came in to start giving messages, it was a slow process with my partner. 31 years ago, the whole crux of why I was here, the purpose, the energy, the focus, was not even known by my partner. But over the years, I told him that something was coming. The first book that was ever written, The Channels, the first channel ever given in the book, talked about the fact that the time was changing from all of your prophecies, that there would be no Armageddon, that the ball was starting to roll towards something else. And that something else became the prophecy of the ages, that humanity would sail past a time when it was predicted for its demise. You went past the year 2000 right into 2012. And dear ones, I'll tell you that none of your scriptures had you doing that. None of them. Even though words from Nostradamus told you that you wouldn't make it. From so many channels accurately saw that you wouldn't make it. It didn't make them wrong that they said that you wouldn't. It says a lot about the energy that was. And almost at the last moment, you pulled it out. My purpose here, from all of these years, was to guide you to that place. And then when you got there, to tell you more about what it was, the new normal, the new human, all of the things that are there for you to look at in the lineage of the Kryon messages that I've given. Always in love, always in compassion, never asking you to do anything that would be inappropriate, never giving you a doctrine, but only that you would look into the eyes of the Creator and see yourself. That's all I ever did. This won't change from that. It will get bigger. And it's going to change into a place and a way that is commensurate with everything in this building. Everything in this campus, this village. Because I gave my partner instructions that he's going to start changing what he does, adding unto the messages of the shift, but going to a place that he didn't expect. Dear ones, you have no idea, not really, of what is inside you. If you were a child of the Creator, what might be there? Past 3D. What might be there that you've never been told you could do? Every single human being is a multidimensional creature on this planet, placed here on purpose. We know your names. You have passed this marker, and I'll tell you, there has been a galactic shift because of that. Those out there know what you've done. They've been waiting for it. It echoes what many of them have done. Yes, all over. There are those like you, children of God. There will be a day when you meet the family, and you will recognize them, much like you. They'll have the same story about the love and the kindness and the compassion and what they've gone through and what their planets have gone through and their transition time and their wars. And you'll sit down and talk, and a whole new world will open to you as you listen to them and see yourself. It's coming. But all through your history, you have had story after story about the miracles that have occurred. The masters have come to this planet. Seemingly, they've raised the dead. Seemingly, there have been all manner of healings and miraculous things occur. And you just look at it and go, that master was so powerful. Look at this. Not understanding, even for a moment, that what the master had done was to set an energy so that the human involved could do the work. The master did not create the healing. The master created an energy allowing the healing to occur. There are many stories of those who have gone to the other side and come back, seemingly raised from the dead. This is also that which is your ability to come back from the brink of darkness, even after the pronouncement of death. Because you have this, dear ones, always have. Choice, soul choice, soul choice. It's not the choice of the ancestors, it's the choice of you. You have always had this spark, and you can call it whatever you want to. It's never been named because it's always been assigned to those that seem to be more important than you. You didn't even recognize it was you. But it always has been. If you're going to go into an evolvement of consciousness, if you're going to have the maturity of understanding so much more of that which is you, your soul, your connection with all that is, if you're going to go to that place, dear ones, you have to understand you're not going to sail into that place with an old energy. You're not just going to have the same old next to you. There's going to be new energies that must be developed and will be developed, awarenesses that never were there. Awareness that you're powerful. Awareness that there's more than you ever thought. In order to have that, there must be an energy of allowance that creates permission, where you can go into a place, feel the energy, and come out saying, I never realized this was mine to do. I never realized that alone, with my magnificence, I could do this. That's about to be created. I'm not the only one that's going to create this, dear one. And we're calling it the Circle of 12. And it's going to happen soon for the first time. I've told my partner to slowly create this, explain it. I can't explain it to you, but I can try. If you've talked to anyone that has had spontaneous remission, it's seen as a miracle, isn't it? Isn't it? Every cell of the body resounds with something. It almost changes the time. It's almost they went backwards in time, a time before the disease. Spontaneous remission is what it sounds like, spontaneous. It's not something, well, I'm going to get a little better now. It's where the disease leaves completely. Sometimes quickly, sometimes overnight, sometimes very fast. It can only be a miracle unless it isn't. What if it was the human soul, a piece of creation, starting to be multidimensional and actually controlling the chemistry of the body, chasing out the disease, creating an immune system which is more powerful than any you've ever seen just for a moment in time. And the disease surrenders to the power of the human being in its magnificence, in its God energy. Now take that energy and amplify it and put it in a room. A room you might be able to walk into and feel. A room where you could feel manifestation of your future. A room that would heal from anxiety and fear and might even change Akash. It might even take those things such as betrayal. You see, I know who's listening. And whereas you would wake up in the morning and have the sorrow of the betrayal and can't believe it, and it activates seemingly a dark part of your life and you can't get rid of it, imagine that diminishing so that you don't even remember it. That's a healing. Imagine being in such control of your cellular structure that you can feel the years being added to your life as you bask in that green light of magnificence. Imagine understanding for the first time, I've always had this. It just never was released. I've always had this. Always. There's so many kinds of healing. The healing of the body, the healing of fear, the healing of anxiety, the healing of the Akash. I've told my partner to create that place And I've also told him to tell those who approach it not to go in. Don't even think about going in unless they mean it. Don't go in to look around because not much would happen. That's how strong it is. I've told my partner to create this every single week in a way that many can experience it. I've told my partner to give away 25% of every meeting free and let the rest fund the whole system so that everyone can participate at some level, at some time. It is the circle of 12, dear ones, and the appropriate color will be green. A green that surpasses any kind of a green you've ever seen before. It permeates every cell. The circle of 12 is coming. And there will be those who will come and experience and say, well, I didn't feel anything. That's because all of this is pushed by free choice. Get ready for a new paradigm. The one you've come from says that outside help is the only way you're going to survive. And so you go to the buildings and you report and you kneel and you pray and you do this and you do that and you call for help, 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 expecting simply that lowly human you're told you are to receive something from the sky, not understanding that you own the sky, not understanding it's always been there, always been there. Miracles don't come from outside sources, dear ones. They come from inside. That's the message, isn't it? My partner will prepare to do this. And I will guide him through it. And it will be new to him. Creating this kind of energy, trying to explain it, and guiding those into it. In a multi-dimensionality, every single soul is everywhere at the same time. And that means all of this can be done from a distance, and yet you're there. That is the premise of having a multidimensionality as a reality. And you know it works. Not too far from here. The tower exists as a symbol for silent unity. And for over 100 years, they have created international, intergalactic, multidimensional energy of prayer. And they know that it goes everywhere all at once, way past the earth. It's like a beacon that can be seen by so many because it is divinely inspired and it features human beings aware of what prayer can do. An energy of intent and compassion and kindness that starts to bathe in that light of magnificent healing. And that's why it's been so successful. You don't need to come to the tower or kneel in order to receive that which they will broadcast as your helping hand. And they will tell you that what prayer does is not an offering to the sky or to the Creator. It's not a plea. It's not begging. It's an energy that goes right to the human being in trouble and says, you are magnificent. Stand up and be healed. That is the circle of 12. I wanted to tell you what it is so you would know, and those listening so they would know. And so there would be no mistake of the intent of what is to come. It is time for these kinds of changes. I won't be the only one. There will be others offering the same. This is what I wanted to tell you in this day, in this moment, in this time. Take this place in your heart when you leave. Your prayers make a difference. Pray for this place and those who run it, for those who are volunteering in it, and for the incredible lineage to continue and to continue. Hi, everybody. I'm Lee Carroll. I am the original channel of Kryon.
So let's finish this day with a little meditation before the channels, bringing your energy inside, closing your eyes. Just seeing if you can relax your shoulders and neck a little more. Breathing, softening your face. And just giving yourself to this moment, feeling the fullness of everything that's gone on today. And knowing that it's really just beginning. Breathing softly, feeling the love wash. Letting that be what carries you forward, what meets you each morning when you wake up, what puts you to bed each night, and what stays with you throughout the day. These are the messages that come to you from the beautiful star mothers, from Adirondack and Kryon. So it is good day to you, huh? Very good to see you again for this our third time here today. Your dearest bright lights, your energy, your frequency that is coming in is raising and raising higher and higher. For you see, dearest beings of light, that energy that you are experiencing, that is why you gather even virtually in groups, because that frequency levels out into the earth, levels out into the planet. As you know and understand, your own words, your own thoughts, your own feelings are setting a pace, are setting that frequency. So we told you earlier to get the right song going on in your head so you can sing it anytime, anywhere. Then we told you to be aware of what you are experiencing with your bracelet, with your awareness of when you have alternative thoughts that are not necessarily in the positive flow. And you understand that everyone has contrast in their world. We talk of contrast as something opposite or different from what you are choosing to experience in that moment. And that contrast, there is nothing wrong with that contrast. It's helping you remain in balance. It's helping you acknowledge that energy. It's helping you stay in that flow. Yet, if you stay in the pile of contrast, if you stay in that space of difficulty, then and continue to focus on that difficulty, then it is much more difficult to get out of that difficulty. Are we being a bit redundant here? Difficult. That is what you are choosing to step beyond. So take a deep breath. So you've got tools that you can use. We know you know them. We know you have that frequency and have the awareness and the knowledge. And yet sometimes when we see you in person, you are going on about the weather and how there's 3-inch size hail coming this way towards Branson, and is that the bad thing? No, it is not. Or you're going on about this or that or the other thing. That energy is still a part of your vibration in your circle, in your field of focus. So what would you like in your field of focus? What would you experience if your life were created by your field of focus? Well, dearest beings of light, it is created by your field of focus, by your frequency, by your own intention. So we ask you, what is important to you at this moment? What matters the most? Just take a moment, a breath, and ask yourself, what really matters the most to me in this moment? Is it finding a new song to play in your head? Maybe. Is it being able to be aware of your old habits and your old energies to shift that focus when you're speaking old programs that no longer serve? Maybe. Or is it just to focus on the positive? Is it just to focus every morning when you rise, before your feet touch the ground, to focus on the acknowledgement of balance in the body? What would happen if you laid in your bed for just a few moments and breathed into your own energy centers? Breathed into that energy of your root, to breathe into trust, for your sacral, to breathe into the faith that everything is being created in divine perfection. For your solar plexus, to breathe into that due diligence with what matters the most with you. To breathe into your heart for compassion. To breathe into your throat for courage. Courage to speak that which must be spoken with divine love. And to breathe into your third eye with patience. Patience with yourself. This is what the vessel Marilyn teaches on Monday. Patience and connection. To breathe into your crown for understanding of all things and gratitude for all things. If you did that one thing every single day, of course you're going to say, I can't remember all those things. Intention is the key. Listen to this recording, jot them down. And then, before your feet touch the ground, just breathe into your energy centers, all the way from your root to your crown. And then take another deep breath and breathe into your earth chakra, your earth center, and anchor your energy into this earth and give thanks for this earth. And then breathe up to the soul star chakra, which is above your head. and anchor your energy into your own guidance, into your own energy, into source, which is all in every atom of your field. And set yourself each day in that balanced alignment so that every step you take is in your divine path. Now, it will be anyway. However, if you set the intention that every step that comes through, every step that you make is a part of that divine path, then you will pay more attention to it, maybe. You see, this world is indeed a wondrous place. And this COVID thing is shifting consciousness as we speak. As you know, we've been talking about this for some time, as our dear friend Lee Carroll has and Kryon has, that what is perceived is not necessarily what is actually happening. And some things get the opportunity to be rearranged. Yet, it is easy to get out of balance in the world the way it is now, especially if you turn on the television or the radio on your car and listen to what is happening or what could be happening or what might be happening. It is very easy for you to get out of kilter, out of balance. Some of you are already there because during our intermission, you stepped out and talked to someone and they were, I'm not going to wear a mask. I have to wear a mask. I have to do this. I have to do that. All of those stories, all of that energy is flowing through your field, is flowing through your existence as well. And that is why we say, align yourself. Align yourself with your own energy centers. Anchor it into the earth. Anchor it into the soul star. And each of your primary energy centers are aligned with intention. Our intention may be different than your intention. But understand that in that capacity, your root, your energy in your primal existence is about trusting that you will always be cared for, that you will always be provided for with a roof and food and assistance and love. And you can trust that. And you get to be diligent about what you do. You get to take care. You get to focus on what is the next step. And you get to have the courage to communicate. And as you do, you see what it is that you wish to communicate. What is it that is important to you? What matters most to you? And then you get to have patience. Patience with yourself. Patience with your abilities. Patience with your talent. Patience with your intuition. Patience with your friend. Patience with your neighbor. Patience with your person at the grocery store. Patience when you're driving in your car. Patience. And then you get to understand. You get to understand that every single person on this planet, in this galaxy, or in other galaxies, every single being has a different idea as to what should or should not be happening. And that is where you have gratitude for the perspective of others. And as it all comes together into your compassionate heart, you radiate that frequency of the heart. Dearest, we don't want to sound like as our vessel Marilyn says, a passion marshal. However, we're going to ask you, if you have not connected with that movie, that one field, we ask you to. If you can't do it tonight, after the sisterhood, you see, that is the next step. That is the reckoning of humanity. It is very timely. That is why the owners did not wait for all the movie theaters to open and all of that to happen. It has to be now. Because people are in fear. People are in fear. Not all, but enough to shift the frequency of love to a different frequency. And that is what we are asking you to avoid. And it begins with you, dearest. It does not begin with your neighbor or your spouse or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your husband or anyone else. It begins with you. Do you understand that? You have received much information today, and tomorrow you will receive even more information and more tools to connect with. And then the next day, more tools to connect with it together. For you see, if all of humanity was indeed living day by day through their own intuitive guidance, with themselves in total balance from the soul star all the way through to the earth, we love to imagine what that would be like. Power filled, eh? You see, that is the new frequency. So what matters most to you? Only you can answer that question. What matters most to us is to assist in you living and embracing that new frequency. That frequency of alignment, that frequency of love, that frequency to acknowledge that you have the power to heal yourself. And in that process, you have the power to heal, to radiate that healing energy to others. Oh, yes, dearest beings of light. We've tapped our vessel Marilyn, as we know. Kryon has tapped Lee Carroll on the shoulder, saying, this is the next thing. This is the new place. This is the higher frequency. Bring together the magnificence of the innate capabilities of you humans to heal the heart, the body, the muscles, the love, and the mind. That is the key. And all you get the opportunity to do is turn it. And that key will open a doorway for humanity to step through. This is why we have said you are the next evolutionary step. Now we're going to say, what are you going to do after you take that step, Start with your intention every single morning to connect and understand with that connection, dearest beings of light, comes enlightenment. You see what we say? The Buddhists, the monks, the Krishnas, the religious people, the religious avenues, the organizations, they are all seeking enlightenment at the core. And so many times, sometimes they let their minds get in the way of that enlightenment, and they take the scenic route instead of the direct route. And we are asking you, dearest beings of light, to help with that direct route, to acknowledge that step, to acknowledge the alignment of your own energy centers. And as you do with the 100 or 200 or 300 or 400, or whoever listens to this, if you start there, that reverberates out around the planet. That is how the world of consciousness expands. Dearest beings of light, we are thankful that you volunteered. We are thankful that you raised your hand and said, oh, pick me, I'll go down to earth at this time. I'll go into the earth to be incarnate on this little blue planet. I will help. I will be of service. I will create a new song in my head. I will be aware. And when I align my energy centers, that will reverberate out, indeed, to align the energy centers of the planet. That, dearest beings of light, is why we are grateful for you. Why we love you. Why we honor you. Trust that. And we bid you namaste. Namaste.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. This is the channeling number 2 of 4 regarding the influential human field. For those of you who did not hear number 1, we say that it is available, as well as number 3 and 4 to be listened to together on that which my partner calls his website, clearly indicated for the San Antonio channels. Rarely would I refer to these things in this way, but I want you to hear all 4. They hook together, and for that which is what we would call a succinct message, one that makes sense totally, these are not to be listened to in a segment without the others. We spoke of that influential human field. It is a field, not necessarily like you would think of an electric field. It's a field that is undefinable in size. It's a field that is so influential to you because it is designed as a survival field. And we told you that even the animals that walk the earth have it. It is a survival field, so therefore some of the basic elements of survival are first and foremost and are prime. The human being walks, however, into a new energy, a profound new energy. One where the human being starts to advance in its consciousness and its maturity, advancing into a place where it starts to see itself far differently. It starts to see itself in a way that makes sense, where humans want to be different and want to be with humans, where human beings stop wanting to conquer each other or war with each other, where there's a confluence, you might say, of benevolence beginning on the planet. A true oneness that was never there before. It's slow, dear ones. Very slow. Certain cultures that have never had it will take a lot longer to get there. The cultures who have had it and understand it, that are more open with one another, it will grow even faster. But the entire planet is involved. It's involved to a degree where someday you will all look at one another. And the meetings you will have as countries will be far different. You will all be in this influential field. Now, this influential field, we started by saying, is one that influences you with things that are around it, and we discuss some of them. But the four that we discuss in these four channels, we started with primarily a basic element of fear. The fear is a reaction, and it is a survival reaction that makes you move away. It saves your life. It is so profound, dear ones, that it even will sense what's coming. And you have been in these situations that scientists will say, well, we don't understand it, we've seen it. Where you will actually stop for a while in order not to walk into a situation that you shouldn't have been there for survival. This field is quantum, totally. For it is a sensory field of other quantum energies, and mostly those energies are other human beings. Fields of humans overlap. And this is why so often we speak of these specific attributes as being almost infectious. And that means that with one having it, another will have it, another will have it, even without the primary impetus of what caused it. For instance, one human being or group of human beings start to be afraid of something, another group starts to come in, they feel the fear. And they're afraid, even though they don't know why. And we've seen this. You've seen this in your cultures. You've seen this in your governments. You've seen the dictators cause it, and those who would run things counting on it. This is primal. Let me talk about another one. Another one which is just as infectious. But remember, these fields go two ways. You can be influenced, and you can also put things into these fields yourself that influence others. Yes, you can put fear to influence others. But we're speaking of something grander than fear. That is primal. That's not what we're talking about. We're starting to talk about elevated consciousnesses. We're talking about maturity and benevolence. And so your other attributes start to show. I want you to turn the page for a moment, which means we're going to change subjects, but we're not. Part of the studies of this planet right now are the studies of something called coherence. Let me define coherence. It is the interlacing of the influential fields. It is the interlacing of the influential fields. What this means, dear ones, is as the one field around you perhaps is filled with something, another human being will feel it too. And another feeling will happen with another human being, and another, and another, and another. This is coherence. It is starting to be studied as an individual coherence with themselves. But truly, the real coherence is with the human to human, or even group to group, and it even goes further than that. The studies have shown with auditoriums filled with those in coherence with a certain attribute can then affect another auditorium filled with that certain attribute. It's almost, again, like distance doesn't matter. It's an infectious thing where those will weep with the feelings of benevolence and joy. So let's talk about that. Second attribute, one of the greatest and most helpful and most practical right now on the planet that you could have, the influence of joy. The influence of joy. Oh, we've spoken of this so many times. It is the inner child in each of you that has and contains and retains, if you choose, the feeling of being a child. The feeling of being a child with most of you is that where you have no responsibilities, where the only thing you're concerned about is how long you can play before your parents call you inside, or what you will do. And all those things together, if you're not having fun, you'll invent those to play with you and have fun. The child is constantly ready to play. The child is constantly ready to laugh. And if they're disturbed, they will then have a lower, perhaps, maturity, and they will cry because they don't understand what's happening, but they're quick to recover and play almost immediately. Dear ones, this is joy. This is unbridled joy. You grow up with it. You know what it feels like. You have it. And then you move into that place where you say you're an adult. And of course, it starts to temper with maturity. There are those who would feel and tell you that those childlike things should go away completely. And that as an adult, you should be more serious, take life more serious, be more responsible. And they'll actually say, well, don't giggle as much and don't laugh a lot. Dear ones, that is not even intuitive. Let me tell you something that we have said before. Those who laugh and giggle, the more they do it, the younger they become. I will tell you, it slows down the aging clock. It creates chemistry in that engine of aging, which tempers it completely. The ones who are joyful, dear ones, are healthier. The ones who are joyful are healthier. But what I tell you is this. Joy is infectious, just like fear. Now, in a changing energy on the planet, you're going to find that it's going to be more infectious than fear. And that means that those who laugh a lot and are joyful will affect the others who are as well. Imagine for a moment you being able to influence those around you to the extent that only a few minutes with you will change their attitude of life. Can you imagine such a thing? Simply because you walk around with joy. Now, what does a person look like who walks around with joy? It's not a person who is giggling all the time. It's a person who is satisfied with that which they see in front of them, which is the same thing you see in front of you. It's what happens next. It's about the day. It's about what's going on around them. You see, they're comfortable and joyful with their lives no matter what. That's maturity. That's infectious. When one person who is in trouble or in fear or in anxiety spends time with another who is not, and yet they may have the same situation in life, that's attractive. You're going to look at that person and say, what is it that you have that I cannot have, or I don't have, or I don't understand? And that is your opportunity to open up and tell them about God inside, or perhaps that you have a joy-filled life because you remember your childhood and you bring it from the DNA remembrance, the Akash, whatever you want to call it, into your own life, and you paste it on you every day. You don't have to be childlike to do that. But what you do is you remember, because you lived it, what it's like to be happy, what it's like to be joyful. These are not pretend emotions because they realize themselves. They realize themselves by habit in your brain. The more you do it, the more your brain, your consciousness will go to that place every day. You see, It's survival. Are you getting the point? If the influential field of a human being is set for survival, what is the thing that will help it survive and stay healthy the most right now? Joy. You ever think of that? There is a video that I will describe to you. We'll call it The Laughing Monk. It's about a man dressed as a monk who'll get into a subway car in a busy city, and he knows no one in the car. As it proceeds along the tubes from station to station, the monk starts to laugh. He's good at it, almost like he is listening to a comedian or something uproariously funny has happened in his life, and he's laughing and he's laughing. And those in the subway car who are normally deadpan and have no interest in anything but the next stop or pondering their poor lives are taken aback, and pretty soon they're snickering. At first they laugh at him. What a silly man this is, and pretty soon they're laughing with him. By the time he gets off at the last stop, the entire subway car is uproariously laughing. And they get out even laughing. And they have no idea why they're laughing. And as they get out, you see him get back in for the trip to the first station to do it again and again and again. How many people that day has he touched without saying a thing? What starts as something odd becomes something not understandable, but joyful. Joy is infectious. Laughter is infectious. And it saves lives because health starts to improve. That is the influential field of the human being, proven time and time again. When one laughs, many laugh. When one turns on the light, many see. It is survival in this a mature time. In this where you're starting to understand a little more about that which is important in energy, which will support something new. I've got two more. I'll present them tomorrow. One will be obvious, one not so obvious. It's time for changes. And that influential field becomes something you didn't expect. I'll tell you more then. But understand this. This quantum field, this influential field is yours. And it is available. All you have to do is feel it, look for it, and create it. For what you do for yourself, others will see. And they'll accept it. More than that, they'll want it. That is the task of the old soul. To create a mature field of peace so that others around you would have joy, understanding, and a better life. Doesn't have much to do with evangelism or what happens next after you die, does it? It's practical, dear ones. It's what we teach in order for you as human beings to have a better life today on this planet of great change. That is the message we carry. And so it is.